welcome to the Plug Into Your Life podcast. I have Adele King, who is just an amazing human being. Adele, thanks for joining us on this show.
My pleasure. Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, so I originally got introduced to Adele in a course I'd signed up for, and they had these cool little breakout sessions, and I happened to set an intention that if I was to join this bigger group, it's like a mastermind, that I wanted to experience some of the people already in it and kind of get a feel for the energy that's there. And sure enough, two of them appeared in front of me, and Adele was one of them. And it was just an immediate smile and just great energy, and really happy to have you on. So, kind of looking into some of the things that you're doing, I think as a Plug Into Your Life podcast that centers towards transformation and wanting to become better and waking up spiritually and all these different things that people, and it's becoming very widespread right now. You offer coaching services.
I do.
Which the group that we happen to be in, Christian Michelson, he mentions, he wants everybody to be coached in the world. And he made a comment about how, anybody that wants to do something in their life, hiring a coach will basically 100% guarantee that you acquire that thing that you're trying to do, and so it's very powerful and really cool that you're doing that.
Thank you.
But instead of me rambling on, I'm just going to ask you, you put in some information about how you had some healing and some other stuff that kind of allowed you to have this platform for wanting like a deeper understanding of personal growth and growing as a person. So I would love if you would kind of touch into, what it was like, maybe what happened, and then what it's like now.
So my personal development, so my spiritual path started like way early on because my mom was into spiritual stuff.
Wow.
But my personal development and my like stepping into it and taking it on for myself, I think started when I was in like middle school, high school, and was largely fueled by depression. But also the sense of like, there has to be more to life. Like there just has to be more. Like I can't accept that I'm supposed to just have a 9-to-5 job and like be okay with mediocrity. And not that that's mediocrity, but like for me, that felt like I would not be happy with that, right? Like I think everyone can have the life that they want. And for some people, that's exactly the perfect fit. So not knocking the 9-to-5 at all. But I knew for me that that would not be satisfying and fulfilling in a way that felt like I want to do this for the next 60 years of my life, and just be in a job and working for somebody. And so I was feeling like really depressed. I also didn't really have much of a sense of myself. I look around at my friends and I was like, well, this one's like really great at sports, and this one's really great academically, and this one's very talented musically and artistically. And I didn't really have a sense of myself. And so I started kind of trying to find both who am I and what makes me happy. And so started with therapy because that was the most obvious place to start. And I did that for about 10 years, which feels like such a long time. And then I was dating somebody, and I was in group therapy and individual therapy. And my boyfriend at the time was like, you come out of therapy and you're really cranky and angry. And I was like, well, that's probably not what I'm going for. And so I started just kind of noticing, I was like, okay, well, in my group therapy, we sit in a circle and everybody's like, well, I'm angry and I'm miserable. And I was like, well, no wonder I come out feeling not so happy. And it didn't really feel like, even if I was having a good day, because even though I was like dealing with depression, not every day was miserable. Like some days were great and some days were awful, but it didn't feel like I could come in and say like, today was a great day. And so I walked out of a session and was like, there has to be a different way that gets me from where I am to where I want to be, that doesn't involve like digging through the past endlessly, and is more like forward focused and positive. And about 2 weeks later, this body of work called Access Consciousness showed up in my life, also through my mom. So at first I was like, oh, not another thing.
Yeah, yeah,
Mom,
yeah.
my mom's amazing. I'm so grateful for her. But moms. And I was like, oh, great. Another thing. I'm very fortunate. My mom's a healer. She's a mystic and a psychic. She's actually opening a psychic mastery academy now. Like, she's
Wow.
amazing. But so this was something I'd grown up with, like, oh, the next new thing, next new thing. But I was listening to a recording and they were talking, just the way they were talking. I can't even remember specifically what it was, but it was like, oh my God, yes, like somebody who understands my perspective of the world, that we can enjoy life and be happy and have all the things that we desire and be wealthy and also be and do good in the world. And I was hooked. So that was the next 10 years of my life. And that involved a lot of inner work and reflection, but also looking at where do I want to go? What's standing in the way? Asking a lot of questions rather than being the answer. Tapping into my own awareness and my, like, a lot of acknowledging my own abilities and what do I know, and also a lot of healing work, hands-on healing, energetic work. So that was really powerful, and through that I kind of found my way to being an entrepreneur, which, as I was mentioning before, and I said to some of my entrepreneur friends, I feel is like the gladiator gauntlet for personal development and growth. And so been adding tools and meeting new people and expanding all the different things that I do through that.
Yeah, no, so said a lot there. So let's unpack a couple of things.
Sure.
In the beginning, you brought up how, the entrepreneur or the working 9 to 5 or whatever that is, or looks like to someone, that just wasn't for you. And it's immediate, whatever words you use to describe that. And I just wanted to point out, like, it wasn't that situation that you were you're aware of. It was the fact that didn't fulfill you, that didn't make you happy.
Right.
You were following your intuition, like, I'm not supposed to be here. And for some people, I wouldn't get caught up on, well, oh, she's doing this, she's free. Oh, it's more about just grounding yourself with, who you are meant to be, or who you should be, or who not should, but because you are who you are, but just accepting your current circumstances and have that awareness of, okay,
Right.
I'm not feeling right with this. Maybe, and then you brought up, I started asking questions, right?
Well, this is,
So
before you go to that, this is a really extreme example, but like one of the lines that I've come across is, if somebody's like talking to you and they're just like in their story and they're complaining and they're kind of stuck in a loop and they're going on and they're complaining, the line was introduced to me as like how to snap them out of it, which is, if I had that, I'd kill myself. And at first I was like, oh my God, how could you ever say that to somebody? I would never. And then I really like thought about it. I was like, okay, well, what, like, what does that mean? Where does that come from? And what I really got to, which goes back to what you're saying about what I said about the 95 thing, is that, like, for my dad, for example, he's worked in a steady job for his whole life, and having that security, having that paycheck makes him happy. That works for him. But again, like, if I was in that position, literally, I wanted to kill myself when I was, so for me, that's not happiness, but for him, that's like totally security, stability. He's retired and he's still working in that job because it gives him that sense of like peace and calm.
yeah,
And he loves what he does and he loves who he works with. So again, totally not knocking the 9 to 5, just I knew, like, and I think this is what you were trying to highlight, is like, I knew for me, that's not where my soul was. That wasn't my journey in life. But for some people, that's absolutely the perfect thing.
yeah, big shift.
Yeah.
And then one up that, and then, if you're not happy, then maybe start asking some bigger questions. And I just did a video on, like, you literally have a box in your hand all the time that will give you any answer you want, So if you're not happy and you're thinking, maybe I want to do something else, literally ask how to do this, and you'll have the
Well,
answer to
and
start.
I want to bring a couple pieces to people's attention. So like, one, we're not encouraged to ask questions like in school and stuff, or you're encouraged to ask questions that you already know the answer to, right? Like once you get into the workspace, like, or in school, they're like, ask a question that you know the answer to, and then you sound really smart. But a real question, sometimes a real
Yeah.
question actually sounds like a sentence, but it's just that curiosity behind it. So a real question is something you don't know the answer to. And usually it's a like what, where, sometimes when question, not as much a why, and how is only if you're really looking for the like how to do it kind of a thing, like learning how to do it. Why will send you in a circle, and kind
Yeah.
of like if you think of a 4-year-old, like, but why, but why, but why? There is no really like a why. But if you ask like, okay, well, what would make me happy, or what could I add to my life that would give me a sense of satisfaction and fulfillment, and not to answer it necessarily, but just to put the question out there, like to the universe and to your own awareness, and let that kind of, it may come instantaneously, like that sense of knowing, or it may be like something that pops up and pops out at you as you're going through your day.
Yeah, I've had that happen where just like one time I was riding my bike and I was in this meditation and someone I trust told me I had a block and they're like, okay, before you go into the meditation, just set an intention that, okay, whatever answer you seek, they'll just give it to you, and then put a pad and paper or pen and paper in front of you. And as soon as you come out, just don't even think, don't even try to think of the answer or whatever it is, just start writing, drawing, or whatever. And
Yeah.
sure enough, I did that, but it was just like a weird, like, well, honestly, it was like a little stick figure. And I did it for a week, and that was the only thing that popped up. And then I was riding my bike, and then all of it, I was like, oh, I wonder what that thing meant. And it just answered a profound question I had. And all of a sudden, like, this vision of this thing popped in my head out of nowhere and like almost like wrecked my bike. It was crazy. Anyways, yeah. And then sometimes I like to do it like before I go to sleep.
Mm-hmm.
There's a couple famous people, and like I think there was a president that would hold like metal balls or something, and then he had like a metal cup, or he had balls and then a metal cup down below, and he would wait till he fell right asleep, right in that like drifting stage, and then he would
That is,
drop the bullets or whatever they were, and he would wake up, and then the answer would be there in that space. But anyways,
that's interesting.
useless. Well, you could use it. Putting it out there. Yeah. So, and then also you read, or I read that you put, you had some energy surgery. I'm just curious what.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
that was another. My mom.
Oh.
My mom. I talk about my mom a lot, yes. Yeah, I know she heard about John of God, who I had actually never heard of,
Hmm.
but who channels this like um team of beings who are like surgeons from whatever lifetime. Um, and then he would have people come up and he would have us like, everybody was wearing white, and we would write down like what we wanted healed on a white paper. And it was this huge tent, there were like so many people, and I actually got picked to have energetic surgery done. I think like I grew up having really bad stomach aches, so I think that was one of the main things, and probably some of the depression stuff. um and then there was protocol for what to do afterwards, and I went like almost directly from there to visit my friend in Guatemala who was doing the Peace Corps. And I remember it was one of the hardest trips that I'd ever been on. And I don't know if it was because it was Guatemala and we traveled and we were in like literally a different climate every day. So my body was like adjusting to different things. And I had this like blessed water that I had to drink every day that I carried with me. Like I'm backpacking and I've got like bottles of water. This was before, I guess, no, it wasn't before. I don't know how I brought bottles of water because I don't think it was before 9/11. But anyway, yeah, so it was amazing. And things, I mean, it wasn't instant, but things have actually changed in that area quite dramatically. And every so often I'll get like a really bad stomach ache and I'll be like, wow, I used to like live with this every day. I can't. And I had a friend who was like, I think you're faking. Like, how are you still functioning in life if it's so bad? I was like, I just have a high pain tolerance. Like, I don't know what to tell you. It's like, this is my life.
Mm.
Um,
And the
but
pain
yeah.
body really starts loving that experience, you know. I feel like especially like stress and everything else, like people get addicted to it. It's like that stress, cortisol, you know,
Mm.
and then looking for the pain, and then like you're just reaffirming it and kind of really embodying it's there. It's like it's
I
crazy.
also grew up dancing ballet, so pain was like productive in my mind,
Mm.
I guess. So yeah.
No, it's really that's really powerful. Yeah, I do energy healing, and I'm involved in that world. I went to a Donnie Epstein retreat recently. I don't know if you heard of him.
The name sounds familiar, but I'm not like,
Similar stuff. He does like energy work, and he Gwyneth Paltrow had a show on Netflix about uh like he teaches like chiropractors how to sense energy in the body and move it and stuff. Really cool stuff. Really cool. So, okay. And then, so you had all of these experiences, you kind of started waking up, and uh, your passion right now, at least, is helping women with entrepreneurship skills and businesses and all of that. So talk a little bit of, oh, and by the way, before we get into this, if you guys are interested, I'm going to put all the links down below. Also, please like and subscribe and share. It helps us to give this word out, but all of Adele's information would be down below. It's adeleking.com, right?
yeah,
All
very
right,
simple.
cool.
L with two
Yeah.
L's, not like the singer, but yeah. Um, uh, yeah. So my business. So it's also somewhat rooted in this idea of um I believe like whatever you want for your life, for your business, career, you can have that. And again, that's different for everybody. But I like for me, coaching women in entrepreneurship is really about like their essence and finding that gift and that talent. Like I have a teaching background and I really feel like whether it's in teaching or in business, it's like if everybody really knew and tapped into the thing that is their gift and their superpowers and the things that light them up and make them happy and actually did that, because I think you can make money and build a career and a life doing literally anything, whether it's making cookies or riding horses or arranging flowers, like literally anything, or making money for money, like whatever it is, like there's a way to make money and be successful doing that. And so just helping people like tap into that for themselves and be encouraged and empowered and confident that they can do that and go out into the world and share their gifts that way is super important to me, both on the individual scale and in the sense of like the future in the world that I desire to create and live in. So that's kind of the driving force behind it. And then I've spent, in addition to the 10 years of consciousness work and healing and personal development, with that, I worked on the back end of a lot of facilitators' businesses. And so I've gained a lot of business knowledge, and then bringing those two pieces together to support women in building and growing their businesses is what
Yeah, I
I'm.
love it. So what's been like your as you've been talking to people, like what seem to be some of the number one like challenges or like obstacles that stop? Because I love that. And then I'm imagining myself like still working 9 to 5, and I'm attached to the money, and the fear behind like leaving that, and all the stuff that's around that. And I'm hearing like, oh wow, that's great. Or maybe there's a woman specifically, or a girl that has started like a side income or something, and she does have like a little baby infant business going on, and maybe there's a lot of fear behind that. Like what or it could even be the next level, like they're already in business or something. What seems to be like a big roadblock for people maybe that might help um, shed some light to that?
Well, so one thing that I have had a lot of in working with clients is things around organization and clarity and just taking action. Like the ideas are there, but there's a lot of like uncertainty or swirling in like a certain stage of the business and getting to the next step. So whether it's like difficulty with technology or the ideas are there but they're not fully like organized and formed, and I think that's oftentimes because it's much easier for us to see and do things for other people, but when it comes to our own thing, especially like a business is like a baby for some people, right? Like this is something they care a lot about and it's really important to them, and then to put it out into the world can be very vulnerable and nerve-wracking. So having that and this goes back to what you were saying at the beginning about coaching, having that like person to bounce ideas off of, to hear your own thoughts, to get clarity, to get that organization and that feedback, um, and just have a conversation. It's also a very different mindset. So, you know, when you're talking to somebody who is like, just stay at your 9 to 5 job, it's like much more secure and safe, and like you'll be better off that way. If somebody doesn't have the entrepreneur mindset, it's very difficult to communicate why you would do something like become an entrepreneur, because it takes a lot of work, and it seems really crazy to people who don't have that desire and don't have that pull. So to connect with people who understand that and support that and can see the vision, and reflect that back to you,
So
and believe
I
is
read
really
a quote. It was choose your risk. It said a lot of people latch on to the risk of, oh, what if I quit my 9 to 5? What if I do this? And there's a lot of risk in that choice, but there's also risk in keeping the 9 to 5. What if you keep the job that you're not really happy with in your life, and you wake up 40 years later and you never did anything that you wanted to do? Like, you're taking a
yeah.
risk either way with, or, and it's just funny to, having a coach allows you to see the perception of a different viewpoint, right? So it's
Right.
really
And just
cool.
figure out what it is for you. Like exactly what you're saying. It's like, yes, it's a risk either way. So what's the one that's going to work for you?
Yeah, I love that. um yeah, so all right, now if people, oh, and you brought up technology too, and I wanted to kind of touch on it real quick because I know we're getting to the top of the hour here, or yeah, but how important do you think people's words or verbiage over themselves, how they're speaking into their life? Because I got off of a group call with some other coaches and other entrepreneurs, and the women on there were saying, I'm not good with technology, I can't get technology, it's just, and I'm like, if you would just change your wording a little bit, like, I can get better, like.
I was just talking about this with my mom. She was like, well, just change it to I'm learning. I'm
Mm,
learning technology. I'm learning. And it is one of my superpowers. It's one area where I'm very intuitive with technology. And so it's part
okay.
of, I'm offering master classes every month, teaching very basic tools for entrepreneurs for free, because I know it's a big hurdle for a lot of people. But once you just have that like crash course and overview, it becomes much less intimidating. And so going back to questions, being willing to have that beginner mindset, to ask questions, ask for help, um, whether it's business or happiness or life skills or whatever it is, um, being able to just be vulnerable and like find those people who won't judge you for it, but will, support you and
Yeah,
contribute.
love it all, Adele. Thank you so much. Now you have a couple of, well, you brought up your class, Canva class, which is a powerful tool for creation.
Yeah.
Do you have any other courses coming out, or
Yeah. So
how can people find you?
each month is going to be something different. The best place to find me is on Facebook, facebook.com/akbizcoaching.
Okay.
Um, And I do have a Facebook group, Badass Business Babes.
Yes.
Um, and so
Maybe I'll wear a wig. You can let me in there. I'm just
well, I was
kidding.
like, babes is like my branding is very feminine. I definitely work primarily with females, but babes goes
Yeah.
both ways. You would not be the first guy in there. Um,
No, it's
but
okay.
so every month will be a different thing. This past month was Canva. Next month is going to be all the Google suite of tools that are super powerful.
Oh my gosh, I signed up for the Google Drive or whatever it is. I don't even know. The analytics and all that. There are so many tools and things in there that like I'm just like blow my mind. Like I need to learn this stuff. So you're teaching classes on all that. That's really cool.
Yeah. So, and all are welcome.
Yeah. All right. So we'll put some links down below. Check you out on Facebook. And yeah, super excited to see this growth. And I think there's this big shift happening where people are waking up, and realizing that, you don't need anything outside of yourself to be happy. You can embody happiness in yourself. And once you change that energy inside of you to start viewing things in a different perspective, your whole life becomes magical. And, having accepting people in your life that can guide you or already have seen where you're trying to go,
Okay.
when two people are joined, it becomes like this magnet for whatever you want. It supercharges it, and it's so cool, man. I just love life. It's just so magical. I mean, when you start looking for that, like, stop looking at the problems and complaining and judging and looking at other people, like turn within.
And the
Yeah.
other thing is look for what you can do, right? Instead of focusing on what you can't do, just like, okay, well, what can I do?
Yeah. Yeah. Very powerful. Well, though, I want to respect your time.
Thank you so much. This has
Yes.
been
Thank you.
an
It's so
awesome.
fun. And like every little topic, I could go on for like hours.
We'll have to do it again when we have more time. I'm sorry that I like am booked so tightly.
No, it's good though, because I've been told like I get in these little rabbit trails of like all different topics. So it's nice to just be okay, we're gonna hone in, keep it sweet, and love you, love all this work you're doing. And yeah, we'll definitely get you on again, open up some cool topics, and go from there.
Thank you.
All right, guys, keep going, plug into your life, and turn within. Have a good day. Bye.
So bye.